Good afternoon to all of you. It's still, I believe, afternoon. Even the time is has changed, so it's much sooner dark. But it's afternoon, and it's a great time to open minds for talks about film. These masterclasses, and I'm so happy that Kirsten Johnson, who will have the masterclass just now, is here with us. Because you are here and you are interested in going deeper in the film, I'm not mentioning all the films she did because you know them. Many of them were screened here, even those which she didn't direct but was a director of photography, then behind the camera. Even the film Derrida from 20 years ago, which was shot about a French philosopher, we screened at the time, and it's a great piece of art and piece of work Kirsten did in last decades. Actually, I have to say I didn't know that she also made a fiction film about pandemic many years before pandemic. But this is something significant for her because she is really a person who sees forward, who really sees behind the corner, and that's why it's so a great chance to now meet her and just listen and think. And I have to say, I just got to know that. Me and my wife will be part through one photo of this, talk. So let's see what will happen. I didn't see the photo, but it's great to give her the floor. Kirsten Johnson, you have our trust.
Marek, I appreciate your trust, and it's amazing the way I keep learning how far back we go. I had no idea that you showed Derrida here. So I think this is the amazing thing about getting to know people is that you realize you know them backwards as well as forwards, potentially. All right, I think you will be happy with the photo. I hope. So I am so here so that we can be together in this space right now, in this incredible festival created by and continuing to run with these beautiful people, all of whom are supporting us in being here. So we're here. It's 5 p.m. We're in the Czech Republic. We're in a room together. It's now. There are things that happen before you walked in the door, and there will be things that happen after. I have not locked the door. Once in college, I saw a film by John Moritsugo, and he put chains around the door. You are not allowed to leave. You are allowed to leave. But I am going to ask you to be here with me and sort of be back and forth with me. So I'm going to first ask you some questions about yourselves, and I want you to answer by raising your hands. How many of you think of yourself as artists? How many think of yourselves as filmmakers? How many think of yourselves as people who love movies? How many of you work for a living? How many of you are retired from working for a living? Yes, nice. Love it. How many of you are afraid that you can't make a living being a filmmaker? Yes, right? How many of you are afraid that someone you love very dearly will die? How many of you are afraid of your own death? How many of you are an if I dieer, meaning you really think, well, if I die? Yes, a couple, yes, great denialists in the house. How many of you are worried about the American election? How many of you are worried about the war in the Ukraine? How many of you are worried about the war in Gaza and Israel? How many of you are worried about racism? Okay, right? We can keep going. How many of you feel impotent? How many of you feel overwhelmed? How many of you feel you get courage from your friends? How many of you feel like you get courage from art? How many of you feel like imposters? Okay, let's get started. All right, so we have similarities. We have crossover, right? And right now, we are sharing time and space together, okay? So we're doing it. All right. Pavel, you ready? Is it gonna work? No. Ah, yes. Okay, it works. This is now. It's today. It's November 28th. I had this class in my book, right? And here I am in Ji.hlava, writing in my book, and I want us all to think about 3 big threads. The big thread of history, and I'm talking the whole universe, from the beginning of time, moving forward, the whole universe, everything that's in it. And then you will notice that this drawing is not to scale. You are much bigger in this picture than you really are in the history of the universe. And yet, you feel pretty important to yourself, right? And then there's cinema and images, right? Also not to scale. You'll notice that there's a before you and an after you, right? Okay? So look at this. This is the next page on my notebook. This is next week. I have no idea what's going to happen. On Tuesday, this page is blank now. I'm just turning this page, freaks me out. Writing with the feeling of how close the election is. We don't yet know what will happen, right? We have no idea. The page is blank. There's a lot of writing behind it from before. Right now, it's empty. I hope every one of us in this room makes it to Wednesday. But we don't know, right? It's possible someone in this room will not make it to Wednesday. I'm going to say, let's hope, and we're going to get to Wednesday, which will be the after of right now, right? Right now, we are very close to a moment in time that will be after Tuesday. We're not there yet, and as we get closer to it, we're going to feel our uncertainty grow, I believe. So you just watched the trailer with our child Felix Torres. That was us filming and playing in 2020 during the pandemic. And because I was making the film with my dad, Dick Johnson is Dead, we were talking with the children, how can we film death, right? And so I was the one holding the camera, and I threw the stick that hit him, that took him down. And when I saw what I had filmed, I thought of Robert Capa and the Spanish Civil War, and this moment of catching a person in mid-flight, right? And you think of how rare that was when Robert Capa did it, and how common it is now that we see these moments of people's death, right? So this is a drawing that I did when I was a 5-year-old, right? In many ways, we can say it's a self-portrait. I will tell you the honest truth, everybody. I was like, should I also wear this? Because I was like, my outfit's a little too dull. So I was like gonna add this, and then I got in here, it's too hot. So I'm not doing it. But you see, I kind of need the color orange, right? I just met someone who's just been in India, and he also loves the color orange. But so that's a portrait of who I was as a little girl. And the things I want to talk about today are bodies, time, stakes, and images. This I've been thinking about, and this is a talk I keep changing and modifying depending where I am in time and where I am in place. So part of this conversation I did in April in Los Angeles, and I've changed it because I'm here, and I've been changed by being here. I'm pushing the button, Pavel, and it's there. So children make images. Children play with image making, and I just am giving some props to my daughter, who is a twin of Felix, who is not in the movie, and she was like, I want to be the art director of the movie. I don't want to be in the movie. And for those of you who saw Dick Johnson is Dead, there are my children looking at something on the screen with their grandpa, right? This is the moment in history that we're in. Little children watch movies on screens with their grandpas, right? But this is also the moment that we're in. People come to cinemas and sit together in cinemas. Sometimes they fill cinemas and sometimes they don't fill cinemas. But what happens in a cinema is that you're next to actual live humans, not just your grandpa, and you're next to live humans you don't know, even if you came with people you do know. So now I'm going to ask you to do something, which is to turn to a person you do not know. I heard that this is scary in the Czech Republic. I heard that it's very scary, but you're going to have to do it. So if you are sitting alone or if you're sitting far away, you're going to have to get up and move your body. This is going to take a very short amount of time. 1 minute. I'm going to ask you to find someone you don't know, stand up, and I just want you to stand across from them, okay? Go for it. Stand up. Stand up. Resurrection. Stand up. Okay, beautiful. Okay, right. So does everybody have a partner? Okay, fantastic. All right. Everybody has a partner? Okay, now I'm going to ask you to be silent. Silence. Silence. Yes, what? No groups. If you're odd, then what, you're one odd person out? There's other people. Yeah, there's extras. Okay, switch it up. You can do it. Okay, we have a spare person here. Will you come and go over there and look in the eyes of that young man with the hat on? You can do it right over here. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Even the people in the back, the tech crew, get out of there. Come on, you guys. They're like pretending they're not humans, right? It's very clever of them. Okay, so it's really simple what I'm going to ask you to do. I just want you to look into each other's eyes for a minute. Okay? All right, is everybody okay? Breathe. And I want you to try not to talk to each other. You can laugh, but just try to be with each other. Okay, go. Okay, it's a minute. Woo! Isn't that a long time? Did you see what we did? Did you see what we did? We transformed time. And you discovered some new mysteries. Okay, you can sit down. Okay, so is there anyone here who wants to say a word about what it felt like to be looked at? Just shout out a word. How did it feel to be looked at?
Intimidating.
Intimidating.
Surprising.
Surprising.
Funny.
Funny.
Scary.
Scary. Nice. I don't know. I don't know what it felt like to be looked at.
Weird.
Weird.
Hypnotized.
Hypnotized. Nice word.
I have no idea.
I have no idea what it felt like to be looked at.
It was evolving. It was different at the beginning, then different at the end.
Changing. Yeah, changing.
It was unexpected.
Unexpected.
By the end, it was calming.
Calming. Yes.
Closeness.
Closeness. Yeah.
Scary.
Scary, right? Okay. Now, how did it feel to look at the other person?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Deep.
Deep. Yeah.
Intimate.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
I was going to see.
They came from the bar. Yes.
I was also going to say intimate.
Intimate. Beautiful.
I don't know.
You don't know. That's right. We don't know. They're not easy words for it.
Close.
Close. Anybody else with a to look at? What did it do to you? Hopeful. Love it. Connection. Yeah. What else? Embarrassed. Yeah. So you were embarrassed to look at, right? Humanity. That human in front of you. Revealing. Did anybody also notice that you can't look with both of your eyes at the same time? It's like, what is that? So Gaiton is a student of mine. He knows that we have a dominant eye. So everybody hold out their hand and line it up with something vertical. Look at your finger. It should be there and not there, right? Close one eye. Does it stay on the vertical line or does it jump far away? Okay, so how many of you, if it stays on the line, that's your dominant eye. How many of you are right-eyed? How many of you are left-eyed? Okay, right? Super interesting. And our eyes together with our brain are making things three-dimensional. But you see in that moment when you see your finger being translucent, your finger is only an image. And your finger is also attached to your body and is a real thing. It's both, right? Very weird. Very weird stuff. So we're in the now, right? We're in the now together. Now you've seen someone else you didn't expect to look at. And now you got to manage your relationship with them. You got really intimate and now you're sitting there like, are you going to talk to them again? Are you going to hurry away, never speak to them again? Shaking hands, right? And maybe it's the beginning of a great relationship that will go on for the rest of the future. I tried to take this picture of my own eye and the word now. Couldn't do it. Out of focus. Too close to the focal plane, right? Part of how we create images is to paint, to draw, to make actual objects. And then part of it is we work with cameras and they have lenses. Part of how we make things is to listen to each other or try to listen to each other. Some people say listen with your eyes, see with your ears, right? Hard to hear in that tent, but we love it. For those of you who've heard of Christian Markley, the great filmmaker who made The Clock, which is a 24-hour clock made out of pieces of cinema. It goes on for 24 hours. It's going to be in New York this fall. I highly recommend watching the entire 24 hours. But here's a collage of his about being here and hearing. I'm really good at talking. I try to listen. It's very hard for me. Okay, so we've got the now and we've got the before and after, right? So my page didn't have that before, now it has it. Boom. If any of you haven't been to this bakery, who's been here? In Ji.hlava. Tell us the address. It's the Sikorsky Cafe, right? Okay, this is the before. That's the after. Delicious. Before, after, right? Creation, destruction, you could say, but you could also say visual pleasure, bodily pleasure. One thing that I want all of us to think about in life and in filmmaking is nothing is one thing. Not any human, not any moment that's being filmed. It's not one thing. So filming, making films, doing cinema is never one thing. There's never one way to do things ethically. There's never one meaning. Okay, so back to history. We're worried about this moment in history, right? But we're in it. We're in history and we can't do too much about it. It's happening. We're in our personal history and we're in cinema history. All of it is changing in lots of ways that are out of our control, but we're in it. So the thing that we just did was to look into each other's eyes and remember that we are in bodies. okay? You remembered that. And the crazy thing is, looking at another person is many things. She's hypnotized, she's mesmerizing me right now. I'm just gonna forget all the rest of you and just look into her eyes. That could happen with a person, right? That's happened to some people. There's Felix's eye. I call it unbroken eye contact, the musical. Invasive, unsettling, too long, right? So the other thing that happened, we lost sense of time when we looked into each other's eyes. It was real, what was happening. It was maybe describable, but you have no idea what was going on inside the other person. You couldn't even look with your two eyes at the same time. You didn't know if you were being looked at or looking, right? It was a really confusing and uncomfortable. How many people was it uncomfortable? Yeah. It's hard work being looked at and looking, right? It is truly hard work. But there's also some pleasure in it, right? And yeah, right? This is a performance. I tried to get a picture of the two of them, and I kept missing it, and I said, smile at each other. So we don't know if this really expresses their love for each other or if they're performing. I'm gonna say yes. They love each other, but they were doing it because the camera was present, and I asked you to. And in some ways, there's a power relationship of some form. You wish to please me, so you smiled at each other, and you were like, yeah, KJ, okay, I'll do it. I don't want to. Got braces now, don't want to, right? But you did it. And I have some evidence of the two of you together. Is it complete evidence? No. But it is evidence of our moment together. I'm invisible. What I said to them is invisible. It's evidence that there was a camera present. And now this is an image. These two people are here. They do love each other, I believe. This photo, we could see in the future and say, yeah, they were great collaborators. No, they never really loved each other, right? We could project things onto this image and believe we were correct about it. And that's the problem with images in many ways, and also the possibility of images. They are separated from the moment in time that they were made. They're separated from the bodies who made them. Those of us who make them are often invisible. Sometimes our shadow is present, right? So, I have this little drawing that I do where we've got the idea of the present, the moment of filming, and images go forward into the future, and bodies at some point end. Images end if they get lost in the hard drive and all of that, right? So back to this idea of time, body stakes images. So this is my very well-drawn map of my life. I just want to situate us in time. So I began filming Jacques Derrida in 1990, and the internet begins in 1983. The beginning of video on the internet, 2002. First iPhones, 2007, right? I am filming people through this open period where most of us don't have camera phones and most of us don't have the internet, right? So I'm out of sync with history because now all of us are camera people. Now all of us are managing our relationship to seeing and being seen. And we don't know who we're gonna be seen by. I ran into Abby's son who works at the IDA, and I did the talk at the IDA, and they did a video of it, and I was like, Abby, 100 people have watched it, right? But I imagined the whole world could watch it. And I thought about what I would say, what words I would use. Is it gonna be okay if anyone, anywhere in the world sees what I say? And I worried about it, and I thought about it, and thought, who would I offend? Who would feel excluded by what I said? I thought a lot about it, and that's what we're all doing right now, right? because there's the possibility that anything we make goes everywhere. I just took a little gander at my phone and realized I've taken 10,229 photos of Felix and, of Viva, and 9,541 photos of Felix. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I saw, okay, some of the pictures are the same. They're twins. But I'm trying really hard to be fair as a parent, right? That's my ethical ideal. I have to do some catching up. I've got like 1,000 more photos to take, right? We are in this incredible proliferation of image making, right? And it's changing the way we think about all of our relationships. But filming images are relationships. Okay, Sherry Freelow, the great Sherry Freelow from Sundance, she coined this term, the biodigital continuum. We're now on the biodigital continuum. How many people sleep with their phones? How many people check their phones when they wake up in the morning? Yeah, how many people were shocked? I was shocked to learn I did 5 hours of screen time a day this week. Because of the election, we're freaking out. Just checking, right? So when I showed you that little timeline, in the middle of the 1990s, I realized I was part machine, part person because of all the camera work I was doing. I was that before most people were. I've traveled to 86 countries. I've filmed over 90 films in different places. And I have no idea how many thousands of hours of footage I have been part of creating, right? But I've been living in relation to a screen and, hello, coming over here, right? What's your name?
Nicolás.
Nicolás. So your hand is here. The other hand is here. Where are your eyes looking? Here? It depends. There's nothing. Now I'm gone. So now what are you going to do? Keep filming or look at me? Phew. Right? But these are the questions that camera people have. What do you do? Do I keep filming? Do I turn on you? Do I move my tripod? Do I run away from you? Do I get close to you? These questions, what do I do? How do I move my body? Do I push the record button or not push the record button? These are all of our questions now, right? If my kid is playing, am I playing with him or am I filming him? If my parent is dying, am I holding their hand or am I holding their hand and filming them while I hold their hand because I know their hand won't be there to hold forever, so I want to film it, right? We're navigating this. It's work that we're doing. This is my dad. So images can sometimes make hard times easier, right? This brings me so much joy, I can't even say. And I can't tell you how miserable I was when I went to the hospital after my father had fallen down. I came in, and then for some reason, he was wearing the pillowcase on his head. And I got to laugh, right? And then I sent the picture to a friend. He sent me this painting back, magnifying the joy, right? So there's friendship, there's aesthetics, there's surprise, and there's before and after. Before I walk into the hospital room, the moment of the surprise, and then the amplification of the complicated feelings, and the permission to feel something besides impotent and sad and upset, right? There he is. I took a picture of him. He was on the big screen here in Ji.hlava. And guess what happened? During the Q&A, guess what happened? A total surprise. I saw this person, Mika, smiling and laughing at me during the Q&A. And then guess what happened? He came up to me with Finn, his nephew, and he said, I have something to tell you. What did you tell me?
Yeah, my dad's name is also Dick Johnson. And that he passed last September and he had dementia. Yeah.
So Mika's Dick Johnson it really is dead. My Dick Johnson is still living, but my Dick Johnson can't speak. This made me laugh, gave me solace. We suddenly were comrades and look, here's the other Dick Johnson with Finn. You all now have met another Dick Johnson who, because of this image, is now alive in you, right? Because Mika gave me this information. I got permission from Mika. Mika gave me this photo. And then Mika sent me another photo. And he said, this is the last photo I have of me and my father. This is the last time I saw Dick Johnson. This could make me cry. This is the last time. Look at Dick Johnson. Look how he's changed. I'm going to go back one if I can. He's changed. He was different when Finn was little. He had a great sense of humor. He's warm. He's playing, right? And here's Dick Johnson. Come on, Dick Johnson. He's like, look at that. Dementia has transformed him, and yet he knows he's supposed to smile, just like you and Mark knew you were supposed to smile, Nina, right? He's smiling. He's holding on to you with the barest of little grips, right? That photo is your last photo with him, right? Last photos. This is my drawing of a little perfume bottle full of joy, which is sometimes that's what a photo is. It's holding your joy, right? Does anyone know this man? This is an incredible man, and I'm gonna, massacre his name. He is a Yugoslav partisan fighter who's been captured by the fascists, and they're about to execute him. Look at his face. This is a last photo also, right? Some of us know we are facing death, and we can still stand and say, I lived, I'm myself, I'm not letting you take me down. I'm still smiling. Some don't know anymore why to smile, but they know people around them are smiling, so they're gonna smile, right? This is another last photo. And I think about, sort of how we aspire to live. This photo of this person, he helps me face the unknown of the election, right? It is always true that people are living in worse times than us, and it is always true, remember the big line of history, of how big you are on the timeline of history. The deaths of our Dick Johnsons really matter a lot to us. No fascist killed them, but dementia did, and it really matters a lot to us. And through photos, through film, we attempt to communicate these feelings to other people. Sometimes we're able to, sometimes we're not, right? Images are ongoing relationships between the people who made them and the people who will see them as long as they last. So images are relationships that go on over time. So this is a picture of me and Abdul Henderson, who I filmed with Michael Moore when I was making Fahrenheit 9/11, which feels like a million years ago, right? And when we filmed him, he was in uniform, and basically in this moment where we were filming him, we didn't expect him to say anything, and then he said, I'm not gonna go back to Iraq to keep killing poor brown people. And as soon as we stopped filming, Michael Moore said, do you know what you just said on camera? And that I want to use that. But that will get you court-martialed. What do you want to do? Do you want me to erase that footage? Or can I use that footage? Or can we talk about it? And Abdul said, you can use that footage. And Michael said, you should think about it. I'll get you a lawyer. We should get you a lawyer, right? And that was the present. Abdul consulted a lawyer. Everyone was very concerned. Then Fahrenheit 9/11 went to Cannes and won the big prize. And Abdul's whole entire unit got a telegram from the US military saying, you have the option to deploy or not. Totally unprecedented, right? That was the unpredictable aftermath of this moment. Now, years later, I'm making CAMERAPERSON, and I'm trying to think of what footage to include, and I remember Abdul biting his lip. Like, why do I remember that? So I go back, I get the footage, I put it in the movie, and I ask Abdul for permission, sure. And then I finish the film, and we're at a Q&A screening in Washington, D.C., and I say to Abdul, I don't know why I remembered you biting your lip. And this is now, 15 years before. Why do I remember him biting his lip? Was anyone biting their lip when you were looking at them? When you were staring in your eyes? Yeah. You were like, yeah. Abdul said, I know why. He said, in that moment, suddenly Muhammad Ali came to me. And he said, what are you doing? Just say what you believe. So he did. He was not planning to say that. His moment of the now, an image came to him of another human, and he did this incredibly bold thing, dangerous thing. I'm going to make that go. I'm going to make it go. Yes. So just to say that we're all in these different positions. We all have agency. We're all humans. We've got different relationships to power. We're in relationship to each other. We're looking from different directions. None of us know the future, right? We're trying to listen to what's going on inside of ourselves. But when an image gets made, it goes out beyond the three people who are there making those choices together. So images can sometimes save people, right? That image that Abdul Henderson co-created with his words allowed him to not go to military prison and not go back to Iraq, which is what he wanted to do, right? That happens extremely rarely, right? Images can sometimes make people into targets, right? And we know now that this is moving in ways we can't even understand, right? Because our faces can be recognized. All of I get on the Delta airplane and shoot, they just take my face, right? So anyone we film may become a target in the future. We don't know. And we don't control, now we don't know what words can be put in that person's mouth, right? Images can sometimes be used as weapons of self-defense. And the great Gordon Parks, photographer, said the camera was his choice of weapon, right? Remember, I am saying over and over again, nothing is just one thing, right? A camera doesn't just do one thing, an image doesn't just do one thing. So images can misrepresent facts, only show what someone wants to see, perpetrate myths, create falsehoods, exclude information, fire the imagination, dispel old ideas, construct meaning, generate new possibilities, reveal more than someone intended, expose abuse, inspire new directions, serve intentions. And I say, sometimes, right? All these things are shifting, moving. And please add more. You have many more yourself that you've experienced or have happened to you. How many of you are dying from heat? Anyone's gonna be okay? Can we do anything? Can we make it cooler? Can we open the door? No, we're trapped in here. Okay, fine. Okay, so From 2002, that's when images start streaming on the internet, everyone in the world, with some exceptions, but a whole lot of people can watch whatever goes up onto the internet. And from 2007, with our phones, we all can film. We are in a new moment in human history. This has never happened before, and we're all feeling the fallout of it, right? The pleasures of it, the difficulties of it, the exposure of injustice. It makes all of us who are trying to be filmmakers wonder, what should I make? Should I make anything? Is there any point in making anything? Because so many people are making things. How do I compete? How does what I make get over the transom, right? And then you see something that someone makes and they made meaning out of this thing. And then you see something else that someone makes and you think, what are they doing with that image? It's abusing the people they've filmed. This image is a traumatic image, right? All these things are happening simultaneously in the now of now. This new now. So this idea of ownership, agency, permission, we've thought about it in filmmaking forever. Do we have permission? We ask people's permission, right? And the camera person was all about this. But now our eyes, our faces, our images are monetized, tracked, can be doxed, can be surveilled, can be scraped, can be branded, right? And our phones are tracking devices. This is the reality in which we are functioning. Don't let anybody pretend it's not the case, right? You're like, I gotta leave now because too hot. So life sucks. Life sucks. It's hard to figure out what to do. Life sucks. That was the arm of a soldier in Guantanamo when I was there filming for The Oath, right? So this morning in Ji.hlava. If you go to the church, you can see this baby on fire. This baby surrounded by carved wooden flames of hell. Right? People have been making images, drawing tattoos on themselves to say, life is hard. What do I do? Look at what I did. You see my fingers? That's a reflection of my fingers. Because I couldn't find the angle to not see the reflection of my phone. So I was like, I'll make a halo on that poor little baby in hell, right? And why did I do that? Because I had taken this picture of Felix before, right? Someone had made this amazing halo out of pencils. And then I said, Felix, stand in front of it. So this is also what we're doing when we make things. We're talking to each other across time and space, and we're inviting each other to play. And also to acknowledge how hard it is, right? Guess what? You thought I was done. I'm not. It's harder than we thought. Okay, so while I was thinking about all of these things in the year 2023, so Child's Play, my 10,000 images of both of my kids, AI created more images in 12 months than 150 years of photographic history. Okay? Boom. Boom. More images generated by typing text into AI than photographs being taken by humans right now. You all can keep taking photos all day of Ji.hlava, and there's people typing, creating images. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can make this work. I want to make it play. Ooh. What is that, my friends? Look into her eye. She is a Moroccan woman made by AI. You want to see her again? She's got a reflection in her eye. I believe the reflection is maybe, gotta go back. Oh, we're never gonna get back to her. All right, should we leave her? We don't care. You saw her. You saw her. She didn't have a body. The thing that made her didn't have a body. The thing that made her is never going to die. We are. Was this image made by AI or yours truly? No idea. You have no idea, right? These kids, these twins, from the time that they've been born, there are moments when I see visually that they are a part of each other's body. So if you look carefully at this picture, Felix's leg has become Viva's arm, right? It's just an optical illusion. And yet it is in the nature of their relationship, their proximity to each other, and my eye. I'm thinking, do they connect? How are they connected, right? And whenever they do one of their weird things, I photograph it because I love what it says about their relationship. But it's our relationship, this photo. But it's also like a perfect AI photo, right? Because the legs and arms are wrong, the body's wrong. So I have purposely in this talk today, I hope, I know some of you have cried, but I have purposely not included any images that might harm you. And as we all know, there are lots of images out in the world right now that harm us. And in many ways, it's the shock of seeing bodies in positions they're not supposed to be in, right? In war, bodies get hurt and pulled apart in ways, in accidents, things we don't want to see, right? This was this morning with Kava and Alma. I went for a walk to the church, and I was taking a picture of Alma. What I didn't see was how Kava's face reflected the painting, looking up, right? And this is what happens when we create images. We are looking at one thing and we accidentally see something else. Or with time, we can see new things, right? And that's part of the work that we do too. Come on, baby. Technology has failed me. I got it. I don't got it. Look at this crazy thing that was in the church. What is that? What is that? Is it heaven? Is it hell? Is it death? Is it life? It is clearly humans struggling to make visual meaning out of our complex experience. They're putting a frame around something and saying, value this. Look at this and remember how hard it is, how magical it is, right? AI could make that. But what AI doesn't know, it doesn't know what it feels like to care about people who die. It has no idea what it feels like to be in a body. We do. And this is the work that we have to do right now. Because machines are pulling us in every direction, right? Trying to get us to not be in our own bodies. This is our resistance work, to stay in our bodies. And maybe to put frames around things. It's a matter of life and death, okay? We're talking about matters of life and death, really. In the images that you make, in what you do with your life, in how you handle the next week, right? It's a matter of life and death. And we talked about these Venn diagrams. We saw all the ways we overlapped. Images, cameras, bodies, stakes overlap. I should redo the drawing because stakes overlap with AI, but I'm not that clever. I just do these things fast and try to figure it out. But AI and bodies don't intersect with stakes, right? So I ask any of you to redraw this graph better than me. There's a way to do it, but this is what we're trying to figure out right now, right? How to protect human bodies, keep creating images that help us manage the difficulty and joy of living, right? What else I got? Oh yeah, just reminding you, AI doesn't have a body. I'm just gonna keep reminding you, AI doesn't have a body. But we do. And we each have only one of each of our bodies. Okay?